And Justice for All is a joint effort of the Disability Law Center, Utah Legal Services, and Legal Aid Society of Salt Lake. Back in 1998, we got together and knew that we needed to combine our efforts to do fundraising to the legal community, lawyers and law firms, to be able to get the support that we needed to provide the services in those three different organizations.
We were having complications with Social Security, and I had to actually access the Disability Law Center to help me get through some red tape, as I would like to call it. And the red tape was very thick. So thick that it's taken years to get through this. Without the Disability Law Center, I could not have gotten through anything. With a person with a disability, you need the help out there to be able to, somebody to help you advocate for yourself.
Justin Olson's case isn't unique for people with disabilities. He's on SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, the program that provides benefits to people with disabilities.
I was being kicked around on the Social Security system and wasn't getting my full benefits. So I contacted Matt Knotts, and Matt met with me and drew up the right papers so we could try to get me the full benefits.
He was notified of an overpayment. He received a letter in the mail that said he owed the Social Security agency thousands of dollars, and he needed to make remittance immediately. He obviously didn't have the money or the resources to work on that case, so he contacted our office.
I remember when I first contacted Matt, I was quite in a upset state. I didn't know what to do, and Matt told me I'd have to go in front of a judge, and my concern was I'd yell at the judge. I had a temper back then.
Justin is not unlike anyone else that we've served, that they're told confusing and conflicting things, and that can kind of really lead to being upset and wanting sort of take on the system, but not have the tools to do that. So we really needed to take Justin from the beginning and sit him down and explain that in order for his case to move forward, it was going to take time. We went through the formal appeals process with Social Security, which ended up in a formal Social Security hearing, which one of the attorneys on staff, Rob Denton, handled. And they just received a favorable decision that said, in fact, he was not at fault and he was due money in return.
I think the DLC has been very wonderful. They've helped quite a few people. They've helped me understand my rights, understand what I need to do as a citizen to speak up for myself. If someone's in my situation that I was in, at step one, I would contact the Disability Law Center at 363-1347. And they are there from 8:30 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, closed Saturday and Sunday. So, but you can leave a message. The best contact, and he's the director now, is Matt Knotts or Rob Denton. The Disability Law Center treats you like you're a human being. They treat you like you're gold. You come into their office and you're greeted very warmly, or they come out to your house and you're not treated like you're dirt, as I would say. You're treated like you're their number one case, and they care about you.
Many of the clients that come into Legal Aid Society do find themselves in a situation that they never imagined that they would be in. Sometimes we have housewives in their 40s or 50s that never thought that they would be faced with this type of a situation.
I went to Legal Aid Society for help to get a divorce. My ex-husband had quite a bit more money than I had and was able to change attorneys, just make the process much longer. I qualified at that time for Legal Aid Society's help. I never thought that I would be in the position to have to use government services because I've, worked hard all my life. I think the expertise of the Legal Aid Society really was to my advantage. My ex-husband didn't think I'd be able to get an attorney who could help me. Well, the attorneys were very respectful and really concerned about my needs. They were very approachable. I had a lot of questions. I remember when I met Stuart Ralphs the first day, I had a list of questions. And one thing I had written down was to say, remember to speak slowly and ask him to repeat himself, because I was quite nervous and I wanted to make sure that I got all of my needs met. And he took the time to repeat it over until it made sense to me. I didn't feel like I was giving up anything by going to the Legal Aid Society. Sometimes you may feel like you might not get the best service or you have to bargain. I felt like they did their job as if I was a paying customer. At one point, I wanted to just forget about those payments and just get the divorce and be over with. But I appreciated the advice of the attorneys to say that I was entitled to that. I had the documentation for it, and it was something that they could get a judgment for. And at the end of it, I did get a judgment for that. And that money helps me today to pay for the things that my kids need.
And Justice for All, we just couldn't do what we do without Justice for All. The support that we get from the private bar and the community at large that comes to us through Justice for All makes it possible for us to serve so many more people, offer so many more services to those people. We just couldn't do what we do without Justice for All. At Utah Legal Services, we help low-income people with civil legal needs, basically addressing basic needs for shelter, for safety, for stability of their families and their income. A typical client might be a single mother living in some low-income housing that has issues with the health and safety of the conditions there. Could be a victim of domestic violence who's being abused in her own home and has fled and needs protection from the courts.
My husband and I were married just over 11 years. And on February 14th, 2006, after working all day, I went home and found my husband drunk. And the children were very upset. And I noticed a mark on my 10-year-old son's face. And when I asked him about that mark, he said, "Oh, it's nothing." And I said, "No, Connor, you need to tell me what happened." And my daughter, who was almost 8, jumped in and said, "Dad was being really mean today and he hit us." So I went and confronted him and I said, "What's been going on?" And he pretty much looked at me and said, "If you're gonna take their side, get out of my face." And so I said, "Okay." So I went to leave the room and he followed me and pretty much pinned me down and started in on me. This scared the kids enough, my body hit in the wall, that they ran into the kitchen and tried to call 911. So the cops came and arrested him. And so of course the children were downstairs, so they sent an officer down to the children and they asked the kids, "So what's been going on here today?" And before we knew it, the children had just purged themselves of everything that had been going on. He had checked them out of school early that day and told them that they were going to clean the house and that they were going to get a beating every 30 minutes until it was clean. He not only just used his fists and his hands, he pulled hair, he threw my eldest into the refrigerator, he beat my 8-year-old daughter with a copper water pipe. The next day I went and filed for my protective order, and the victim advocate gave me the number for Utah Legal Services and said, "You're going to need their help." Utah Legal Services and the team there has given me the chance to have a voice, to give me the opportunity to stand up and be heard.
And Justice for All has exceeded our greatest expectations of the amount of money that has been donated to support our programs and for the outpouring of volunteer services provided by attorneys throughout the state. The biggest impact of And Justice for All has been the donations that have come through that joint campaign that fund our services. Simply put, without those funds, we would not be able to continue to provide the services in the three organizations.